Under the Shadow 2016 horror film. It takes place in the 1980s Tehran, soon after the Cultural Revolution of Iran and amidst constant bombings of the city by the Iraqi. We open with Shideh, a young woman who is trying to, well, relatively young, who is trying to resume her medical studies at a university after she paused them during the revolution, but she is barred to do so on account of her previous political involvement. So she ends up being practically confined to her apartment where she lives with the husband and a daughter named Dorsa. She stays at home, she takes care of the child, occasionally has to hide in the bomb shelter whenever there's an attack. At one such occasion, the little girl meets a boy about her age who appears to be mute after his parents were killed in the bombings. And apparently, even though he is mute, he whispers something to Dorsa and gives her a weird sort of talisman against the jinn, evil ghosts or spirits that can possess people and travel on winds. So the mother unknowingly throws that talisman out to trash, and around the same time, the father has to leave the house to join the military. And then a missile crashes into the building, but doesn't actually explode. It's just left her in the ceiling. And from this point onward, weird things begin to happen. Dorsa begins claiming that she's seeing people or ghosts around the house, and Shida herself begins having nightmares. Now, I want to say that this is a flawed film to me, and the reason for that is that it seems to bite more than it can chew. It tries to be a straight horror with themes of isolation, motherhood, frustration because of being unable to do more than one would want. But it also tries to have another layer with comments on the Islamic society of Iran post-revolution and the place of a woman in such society. And it also tries to embed itself within the themes of an ongoing war and the constant fear of the bombings. And I don't think that all of those things are properly developed. I feel like the film was trying to say something more and it's like it stopped mid-sentence. I would rather have some of those themes more pronounced, more fleshed out. There's also the subplot about the boy, the creepy boy that appears multiple times throughout the film, but it ultimately doesn't really lead anywhere. The movie also takes its time to get rolling, to become the horror that it ultimately is. However, when it finally does, I have to admit it is absolutely terrifying. I can't remember the last time I was so scared by a horror film. It's just genuinely nerve-wracking, especially the last 20 minutes or so. There are a few jump scares, but they are used well. And apart from that, the scares are mainly use longer, calmer shots with something moving or even just appearing in the background and just being there, which is just insanely upsetting. There were multiple times my skin just crawled. So, very physical reactions to the film. So I think overall I would have to say the movie is quite decent. It's not great, it's not perfect, but it is effective at some of the things it does, but crucially, the ones that matter most.